No one expects the richest person in the room to look out of place. That's the paradox. Victoria Washington pushes open the glass doors, stepping into cold marble and sharper glances. The lobby glows under crystal chandeliers. A barista in a black vest carries cappuccino to a white man in a tailored suit, head bowed in practiced deference. Nearby, a silver tray catches the light, almost blinding. Victoria's sneakers scuff the polished floor. Her jeans are neat but ordinary. Natural hair pulled back, face bare. Brandon at reception taps his fingers, eyes flicking from her shoes to her tote bag, then to her dark skin. Sarah approaches, smile soft but voice honed like a blade. "Perhaps you're looking for retail banking? Downstairs?" Victoria doesn't answer at once. She studies her reflection in the etched logo behind Sarah. So small, surrounded by wealth. Then she meets Sarah's eyes. "I'm exactly where I need to be." Brandon stares at his monitor, fingers drifting over the keyboard without pressing a single key. The screen reflects back a blank login page, no client list even open. His lips purse like he's solving a puzzle far beyond its simplicity. Sarah steps closer to Victoria, voice low, polite on the surface. "We try to maintain a certain atmosphere here. Our clients value discretion." A beat passes, heavy. Victoria watches her calmly, eyes giving nothing. The silence stretches, taut as wire. Then the glass door slides open. A white man, older, belly pushing at his vest, walks in. Instantly, Brandon lights up. "Mr. Harland! Right this way, sir!" He hurries around the desk, nearly bumping Victoria's shoulder without apology. Opens a small side door with a polished bronze handle, ushering Mr. Harland through with a flourish. Inside, warm light spills over leather chairs and private bankers waiting with practiced smiles. Victoria stands in the chill of the lobby, alone. Victoria slides her ID across the counter. Brandon picks it up with 2 fingers, pinching the corner like it might stain him. He squints at it without typing a single note, then sets it down with a soft tap that somehow feels like dismissal. Sarah leans in, her perfume sharp, her words smooth and practiced. "Certain profiles require more thorough checks. I'm sure you understand." Victoria tilts her head just slightly, studying Sarah's careful expression. Neither woman blinks. The air crackles, heavy with all the things left unsaid. Brandon clears his throat, shifts his weight. The ID sits on the counter between them, small and exposed under the harsh lobby lights. Victoria doesn't reach for it. She lets it lie there, lets the moment stretch until Sarah finally looks away. No voices raised, no scene made, just a quiet line drawn that both sides now see. Brandon clears his throat again, eyes narrowing. "I'll also need your passport, and a recent utility bill." Victoria says nothing. She reaches into her tote bag with calm, deliberate movements. Her hand disappears into the canvas, rustling papers, keys tapping together. Across the room, a security guard shifts. His hand drifts to rest on the butt of his holstered gun. Not drawing, just ready. The leather creaks under his fingers. The building's camera tilts. Its black eye settles squarely on Victoria. A moment ago, it tracked a white couple laughing about Paris. Now, it locks on her every breath. Victoria finds her passport, places it gently next to the ID. She doesn't flinch, doesn't look at the guard. The tension breathes between them, silent but deafening. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe. You'll see why in the moments ahead. Sarah retreats to a back office, heels crisp against the marble. Inside, she opens her laptop, keys clicking with practiced speed. The screen glows. Victoria Washington, CEO, Chen Industries, 520 liquidity. Notes follow in bold. Ultra-high net worth. Handle with utmost care. For a breath, Sarah just stares. Her reflection stares back from the glossy screen, mouth slightly parted. A flush creeps up her neck. Then her face hardens. She snaps the laptop shut, almost too forcefully. The machine shudders. She straightens her blazer, breathes deep. In her mind, excuses pile up. Maybe it's an inheritance, a fluke, someone else's money. Anything to keep her own quiet comfort intact. Outside, voices echo down the hall. Sarah checks her hair in the dark monitor, then steps out, face set again in its cool mask. Ready to protect a world that's always protected her. Sarah emerges, smile thin as paper. Her voice drips with strained sweetness. "The system's having some issues this morning. Would you mind waiting? Over there?" She gestures to a lonely chair near the wall, turned deliberately away from the main floor. Isolated. A quiet place to disappear. Victoria follows her hand with calm eyes, taking in the polished armrests, the distance from every other client. The chair might as well be a velvet rope. Then she looks back at Sarah. "No," she says evenly. "I'll wait right here." Sarah's smile twitches, just once. Around them, the hush of the lobby returns. Other clients peek over newspapers, pretend not to watch. A manager at another desk fumbles his pen. Victoria stands her ground in the center of all that quiet wealth, refusing to shrink, refusing to be hidden. Across the lobby, Jennifer's phone buzzes. She glances down, thumbs a quick reply, then hides a grin behind her manicured hand. Her colleague leans in, reading over her shoulder. Both steal a look at Victoria, then giggle. Soft, breathless, like schoolgirls sharing a secret. Victoria doesn't shift her feet. She simply lifts her head and meets Jennifer's eyes across the marble. The contact snaps something. Jennifer's smile vanishes. Color drains from her cheeks. She drops her gaze to the floor, screen forgotten in her palm. Silence rolls back over them. A manager clears his throat too loudly. The potted plants by the entrance seem to shiver in the conditioned air. Victoria exhales, steady. Round her, the careful hush resumes, but it's thinner now, cracked by a small, undeniable shame. The quiet holds a different weight when someone finally dares to look back. Sarah leans in close to the security guard, whispering fast. His brow furrows, eyes flicking to Victoria, then back to Sarah's tight expression. A small nod. His hand rests near his belt, thumb tapping the edge of his holster. Brandon clears his throat, putting on a look of gentle authority that doesn't quite reach his eyes. "Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave if you continue obstructing our process." The words hang there, strangely familiar. How easily they flip blame, turn waiting into wrongdoing, silence into threat. Victoria studies Brandon, watches the nerves flicker in his jaw. She doesn't speak. She doesn't move. A breath deeper than before, shoulders pulled back. Around them, the lobby stills. Papers stop rustling. Someone lowers a coffee cup mid-sip. Victoria stands alone, accused by the very calm she refuses to break. Victoria sets her tote down, reaches inside without rush, and pulls out her phone. Calm, precise. She places it flat on the counter, screen glowing bright against the polished wood. One tap. The red circle of a recording app pulses. "So you're refusing me service on record because of how I look?" Her voice is soft, measured, yet it slices through the hushed lobby sharper than any shout. Brandon blinks, mouth opening, then closing without words. Sarah stiffens by the guard, her lips pressing into a thin, bloodless line. A faint mechanical hum from somewhere above fills the gap. An air duct, or maybe just the building holding its breath. Victoria doesn't lean in, doesn't threaten. She simply waits, the silence bending around her. It's astonishing how much power there is in not flinching, in letting them hear exactly how damning their own stillness sounds. Sarah takes a small step back, shoes whispering on marble. Her composure cracks just enough for her voice to slip sharper. "Call security." Brandon reaches for the phone, but before his hand lands, Victoria's words stop him. "That won't be necessary. You'll understand in about 10 minutes. She doesn't raise her tone, doesn't even look at Brandon. Her eyes stay locked on Sarah. calm and steady, like she's watching someone edge too close to a cliff without realizing it. For a breathless beat, no one moves. The lobby hangs between two heartbeats, one world about to crumble, the other just beginning to form. Sarah swallows. The guard shifts his stance, uncertain now. Brandon lowers his hand. If you were standing here, would you keep silent or speak up? Tell us below. Sometimes the quietest voices change everything. Victoria steps out into the marble foyer, leaving behind the tight circle of stairs and hushed bias. The glass doors slide open with a sigh, spilling her into sunlight that wraps everything in soft gold. Outside, the city hums. Traffic lights blink. Horns echo somewhere distant. She pauses on the steps, breathes in air that feels cleaner, brighter than anything inside that cold lobby. A faint breeze lifts the edge of her hair. Victoria pulls out her other phone, sleeker, darker, a private line that few ever see. "David," she says, her voice even, almost gentle. "Pull it, all of it." No more explanation, just those words, drifting into the warm street like a promise about to be kept. The line goes quiet for half a beat. Then a crisp reply crackles back. Victoria closes her eyes, lets the sun rest on her face, and waits for everything to change. Far above the lobby, on a hushed executive floor, monitors start blinking red. Digital alerts stack across glossy screens, lines of code racing too fast to track. A soft alarm pulses under the breathy hum of climate control, barely noticeable, except to the people trained to fear it. A junior analyst stares, throat bobbing. "Is this all from one entity?" The CFO storms over, suit rumpled, sweat darkening his collar. His eyes catch the numbers pouring in, balances dropping by tens of millions, cascading across corporate accounts. "What's happening with Chen Industries?" he demands, voice cracking through the sterile quiet. No one answers. Someone else reaches for a phone, fumbling it twice before dialing. The open office feels like it's shrinking, air sucked out by each new alert. Down the hall, printers stutter to life, spitting out frantic transaction logs that no one dares touch. This is the moment before the ground gives way, and every seasoned instinct tells them the fall will be brutal. Sarah's phone buzzes sharp against her palm. She answers with a brittle, professional tone that cracks before the first syllable finishes. "Do you have any idea who that was?" The voice on the other end roars through so loud it seems to echo off the marble walls. Several nearby bankers flinch, pretending to focus on their screens. The security guard shifts uneasily, hand brushing his radio. Sarah grips the phone tighter. I'm handling it. There was confusion with her paperwork. The line slices through her excuses. "That's Victoria Washington, Chen Industries. She holds half our liquidity in her right hand. You just decided to humiliate a walking catastrophe for this bank." Sarah swallows, jaw tightening. The lobby feels smaller now, her own breath loud in her ears. "Yes, sir. I'll fix it." She ends the call, hands trembling. Around her, whispers crawl across the floor like something alive, feeding on panic. A flat screen on the lobby wall flickers, then locks onto Bloomberg. A red ticker scrolls relentlessly beneath the anchor's strained voice. Premier national stock down 18% in the last 30 minutes. The number hangs there, cold and merciless. Around the room, murmurs start to rise. A woman in a pearl choker presses her hand to her chest. A man in pinstripes fumbles his phone, trying to call someone, anyone. Another clutches a portfolio tight to his chest like it might float if the building sank. The security guard who watched Victoria earlier now watches the crowd, unease tightening his stance. Even the plants seem to lean away from the tension. Through it all, Sarah stands near the counter, face drained of color. The luxury of the place, polished brass, chilled air, discreet perfume, clashes violently with the raw fear pooling in every whispered conversation. This is what panic looks like when privilege realizes it's not immune. Sarah hurries behind the counter, hands flying over Brandon's keyboard. The screen wakes, lines of data stacking into cold rows of truth. Her breath catches as the client profile loads. Primary owner, Chen Industries, 500 days, plus core liquidity. VIP flags blink across the file, special handling notes, direct lines to board members, terms marked confidential. Her eyes dart across it all, pupils constricting. For a moment, she just stares. The weight of what she's done sinks in, pressing her shoulders down. Tiny tremors run through her fingers, still resting on the keys. Brandon leans over her shoulder, face draining as he reads. Neither says a word. The silence between them is an admission, of bias, of arrogance, of a gatekeeping so casual it felt justified until now. Sarah slowly closes the window, hands folding together like she's bracing for impact. All the polished professionalism in the world can't mask the raw, growing dread pooling in her gut. Brandon grabs the desk phone, hands clumsy with urgency. He punches in Victoria's number from the file, the digits loud in the tense hush of the lobby. The screen lights up. Call failed. Blocked. For a second, Brandon just blinks at it, not fully processing. Then his shoulders slump. He tries again, this time slower, like care might change the outcome. Blocked. Sarah sinks into a nearby chair, spine folding in on itself. Her hand comes up to cover her mouth, muffling a small, fractured sound that's half gasp, half groan. Around them, the room carries on, voices still low, footsteps still careful, but every polite murmur seems to echo back the same unspoken verdict. You chose to judge her. Now she's choosing to be beyond your reach. Sarah stares ahead, eyes glassy, realizing just how final that choice has become. Outside the bank's glass doors, an elderly man slams his palm against an ATM screen gone black. The machine gives a hollow click, then nothing. His muttered curses float up into the bright afternoon like scraps of panic. Inside, a young IT tech barrels down the marble hall, nearly losing grip on his open laptop. The device emits sharp electronic beeps, a warning tone that repeats in frantic little bursts. He skids to a stop, staring at the monitor with eyes wide. Liquidity threshold. Critical, he breathes, voice almost lost under the rhythmic ping. Nearby, a teller folds her hands tightly, eyes darting from the text screen to a couple still sipping complimentary espresso in plush chairs. They look calm, flipping through travel brochures, utterly unaware. That's the split. One world breaking apart under alarms, another still savoring froth and sugar, oblivious a storm is about to swallow them whole. A row of tense faces fills a Zoom screen in a dark boardroom. Pinstripe suits, pearl earrings, high-backed chairs. Voices overlap, clipped and urgent. This is hemorrhaging. We can't stabilize with that kind of outflow. Cut them loose. Fire everyone tied to this. Now. No one pushes back. Heads nod, tight and mechanical. It's easier to blame the branch, to pretend this is isolated, a local mistake. Names start spilling into the call. Sarah, Brandon, Jennifer, spoken like stains to scrub away. In the middle square, a woman with a diamond brooch adjusts her mic. If we purge fast, maybe it buys us time. Silence follows, brittle and shallow. No one argues. They all know it's a stopgap, a ritual sacrifice hoping to appease something far bigger than themselves. On every screen, the same flicker of dread passes. They're united not by strategy, but by a shared, growing fear. They might be next. Sarah sits frozen at her desk when her screen pings. The subject line punches through her chest. Immediate termination, access revoked. Her cursor trembles over the email. Before she can open it, a harsh mechanical whir starts behind her. The office printer lights up, grinding out a single sheet with a hollow, echoing Ray, Ray. She turns just in time to see her own name spill out in bold black type. A pink slip, still warm from the rollers, lands in the output tray. No ceremony, no explanation. Just policy, cold and clean. Sarah reaches for it with both hands, knuckles white. Her breath hitches. For a beat, she presses the paper against her chest as if holding it there might somehow undo the damage. But nothing changes. Her silence all these years never protected her. It only delayed this moment. And now, the sound of the printer is the only witness to how small she's become. 2 security guards appear, hands light but firm on Sarah's elbows. Her heels scrape the floor as they guide her past rows of desks. Heads turn. Monitors glow with spreadsheets and stock tickers, pretending not to watch. Yet everyone does. Sarah's face stays forward, eyes glassy. She clutches her termination slip like a fragile shield. Near the teller line, Brandon stands stiff, clutching a clipboard tight to his chest. His eyes dart anywhere but Sarah's, landing on papers, a pen, even his own shoes, anywhere but the woman he laughed beside just hours ago. The guards lead her through the lobby where she once presided, past polished floors that used to shine for her approval. Now they only echo her small, uneven steps. If you were Brandon, would you have spoken up? Or stayed silent like everyone else? Tell us below. Sometimes complicity hides in plain sight. Outside the grand entrance, news vans jam the curb, satellite dishes spinning like startled eyes. Reporters hustle out, clutching microphones, jackets flapping in the afternoon wind. Flashbulbs pop as Sarah emerges between security guards. The sudden frenzy makes her flinch. A reporter steps forward, voice slicing through the clicks and shouts. How does it feel to be the face of modern banking discrimination? The question lands heavy. It doesn't need volume to cut. It carries the weight of every headline already writing itself. Sarah's lips part, searching for words that won't come. Her eyes skitter over the crowd, catching on lenses, notebooks, phones all pointed at her like 1,000 tiny verdicts. Silence answers where she can't. Around them, the marble pillars stand cold and unmoved, reflecting her stunned expression back twice over. It's strange how fast the powerful become spectacles when the story turns. Sarah's house is quiet when she unlocks the door, the click of the latch oddly loud. Her daughter sits cross-legged on the living room rug, crayons scattered around her. She looks up with a bright, puzzled smile. "Why are you home early, Mommy?" The question hits like a blade. Sarah opens her mouth, but nothing steady comes out. She drops her purse, crosses the room in 2 stumbling steps, and gathers her little girl close. At first, the hug is gentle, then her arms tighten, trembling, pulling her daughter in so hard the child squeaks in surprise. Tears spill onto small shoulders. "Mommy, what's wrong?" Sarah presses her face into soft hair, breath catching on every shallow sob. In this living room filled with toys and pastel drawings, her downfall feels even sharper. The woman who ordered others out with a smile now clings to the only person who doesn't care about balance sheets or scandals. Just that Mommy is here. On every channel, the CEO of Premier National stands stiff behind a podium, tie perfectly knotted, breath measured. Cameras click in neat bursts. He clears his throat, then speaks with grave certainty. "We at Premier National have zero tolerance for discrimination of any kind. We are committed to rebuilding trust." Somewhere, a family watches from their worn couch. The father lets out a dry, humorless laugh. In a small bar, 2 women share a look over chipped glasses and shake their heads. Across town, an elderly man at a laundromat mutters, "Now, they care?" Their reactions ripple, quiet but linked by the same weary recognition. They've all heard promises like this before, delivered in polished tones from polished men. On screens big and small, the CEO's vow hangs there, empty words echoing in living rooms long used to disappointment. For them, trust isn't rebuilt by speeches. It's earned where the cameras aren't. Victoria stands before a wide satin ribbon stretched across new glass doors. The sign above glints under sunlight. Washington Center for Financial Empowerment. She holds the oversized scissors steady. Around her, a small crowd gathers. Young entrepreneurs, families with strollers, retirees leaning on canes. Their eyes shine with cautious hope. Victoria cuts the ribbon in one smooth motion. Applause breaks out, bright and eager, echoing off the freshly painted walls behind her. Inside, where velvet ropes and cold marble once stood guard, simple chairs and open desks fill the space. Advisors greet visitors with warm hands, not clipped nods. Posters show smiling local business owners, not abstract market trends. It's a striking contrast to the hush of old banking halls. No hushed intimidation here, only the soft murmur of people daring to believe they belong. Victoria steps aside, letting the crowd flow in. It's their building now. She just opened the door. Sarah stands in a modest line inside the new center, shoulders slightly hunched. In her hands, a clipboard shakes just enough to smear her ink signature. Tiny blotches of blue spread across the volunteer form like nervous confessions. Around her, quiet voices mingle, people asking about business grants, savings plans, simple hopes that once felt unreachable. A child tugs at his mother's sleeve, pointing at a poster of local shop owners smiling back. Sarah swallows, her throat dry. The scent of fresh paint and warm paper mixes with the faint tang of coffee from a nearby table. Every detail feels sharp, almost too vivid. The rasp of her own breath, the small squeak of rubber soles on tile, the way her pulse hammers behind her eyes. She presses her thumb hard against the form, leaving a faint smudge. A silent mark that says, for the first time, she's here not to gatekeep, but to learn what it means to serve. Victoria moves down the line, greeting each person with a quiet, steady grace. When she reaches Sarah, there's a brief pause, just long enough for the pass to hover between them. Then Victoria extends her hand. Sarah stares at it, eyes glistening, before clasping it tight. Her grip trembles, not from cold, but from everything she's carried into this single moment. Victoria's voice is calm, almost gentle. Everyone deserves a second chance to do better. The words settle over Sarah like a warm weight. They echo deeper than the marble vaults ever did, rippling through memories of locked doors and polite dismissals. She nods, unable to speak, throat thick. Around them, the center hums with soft laughter, hopeful chatter. But here, in this small space between two clasped hands, something changes. An old power dynamic quietly dismantled, replaced by the fragile start of something new. In a sunlit corner office of a small credit union, Brandon adjusts a modest nameplate on his desk. The space is humble. No marble, no leather chairs. Just cheerful flyers about community savings goals taped neatly to the walls. He picks up a simple wooden frame, thumb brushing dust from the glass. Inside is a faded photo of his grandmother, smiling shy but proud in a Sunday dress. A memory flickers. Stories of how she'd once been turned away by banks that found polite ways to say people like her didn't qualify. Brandon exhales slowly, setting the frame down with care. His tie today is plain, almost too loose. Around him, customers line up. Farmers, single parents, young teens opening first accounts. Each face a quiet reminder that his second chance isn't just for him. It's for the history he carries too, and for breaking a cycle he once upheld without question. At the small service desk, a woman with warm brown skin fidgets with her paperwork, fingers twisting the edge of a form until it frays. Her voice catches when she asks about overdraft fees, eyes darting like she half expects to be scolded. Brandon watches quietly. Then he leans forward, offering a gentle nod and a patient smile. "Take your time. You belong here." The words land softly, almost too simple, but the woman's shoulders loosen. She exhales, gives a small, grateful laugh. Around them, the quiet shuffle of other customers, children whining, a man counting change twice, fills the room with an ordinary, welcome life. That one sentence floats in the air long after. It ripples out, touching not just her, but the others who overhear and lift their heads. In this modest space, an old story gets rewritten. Doors aren't places to be judged anymore. They're invitations to step in. Victoria stands by the wide front window of the center, fingers lightly tapping the glass. Outside, sunlight spills across the sidewalk in gentle gold, catching on laughter and bright eyes. A small group of young entrepreneurs, black, brown, a swirl of vibrant voices, huddle over notebooks and iced coffees on the steps. One gestures wide with her hands, ideas flying faster than she can speak. Another nods, phone out, already drafting notes. Inside, the hum of quiet conversations and printers floats around Victoria. It's such a simple contrast to boardrooms where power once shut these very people out. She lets out a soft breath, almost a smile, watching ambition take root right where old exclusion used to stand guard. In that soft, ordinary scene, you can almost see tomorrow shimmering, fragile, unfinished, but finally, truly possible. Victoria's voice comes soft, wrapped in thought, flowing over scenes of the center alive with possibility. Justice isn't revenge. It's a door left open. For everyone. For good. Outside, the new sign catches a tender breeze. Washington Center for Financial Empowerment glows under the sun, letters warm and sure. A boy in a school uniform runs past, backpack bouncing, not even noticing the transformation, because to him, belonging here is already normal. Inside, laughter rises from a workshop table. A woman shakes hands over a small business grant. The image lingers, then slowly softens, colors fading to a gentle haze. If this story moved you, like it and share so more people see what change truly looks like. Subscribe for more stories that prove doors aren't meant to shut us out. They're meant to welcome us in.